All right, here's our next problem. This one is going to be a little bit different, and you'll see why in just a second. First thing I want to do is I want to combine things together that are on each side of the equal sign. Remember, we can't cross things together yet that are on both sides of the equal sign. We have to wait to cancel things out. So let's look at this side first. Put a box around that. That's just a regular number, so that would be a circle. Put a circle around that, and there's an X right there. So let's take care of this side first. I can put together the 13x and the minus 3x, which would be 10x. Okay. I can put together the negative 4 and the negative 2 that are regular numbers and just make negative 6. Now, on my other side, equals, these are all just regular numbers, so I can put those together right away. 6 plus 5 plus 3, 11 and 14. Okay. Here's what our problem looks like now after we've combined things together. 10x minus 6 equals 14. Now, some of you guys could probably go through and figure out what x is right now, but again, I'm going to show you ways to do it here. Remember, our goal is to get the x, or whatever the variable is, by itself on one side of the equal sign. Right now, our biggest problem is we've got this guy clogging it up over here. We've got to somehow get rid of this so we're closer to having the x be by itself. Here's how we do that. We do another set of canceling out. And again, all we're doing is we're working with opposites here. And I think it's pretty easy once you figure out what we're doing. I need to get rid of this because this needs to be by itself on one side of the equal sign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite of negative 6, or the opposite of minus 6, which is plus 6. Subtract 6, add 6, those are opposites. If I have opposites, I can cancel them out. Canceled out. Okay. Now the thing is, if I do this to one side, remember you've got to do it to the other side. So if I did plus 6 over here, I've got to do plus 6 over here. So when I do this plus 6, 14 plus 6 is now 20. Okay. Now I'm not quite done yet because over here I still have 10x. doing. I would like you to try these first and pause this, and then kind of see how you come out. If you're really having troubles, you can definitely watch the video to go along with this, but I want to see if you can figure things out. If you got questions while you're doing this, make sure that you ask for sure, 100% here. Always start with combining the things on either side